Okay, looks like we're live. Yay. Okay, it worked all right for me this time. Last time I had a little trouble. I'll give folks a few minutes to hop on. And in the meantime, I'm gonna have some Easy Mac. The lines are way too long at Wendy's for me to get a hamburger, so I was hungry. And I thought, I don't really want to cook right now. It's been a morning. Hello, hi Sophie. Sorry, my mouth was full. How are you? Hope your day is going well. My morning has been just a roller coaster of emotions. Not only today, but this last week with the election and everything going on. So, lots and lots of stuff in my mind. Just it's like fireworks. Oh, I just got a message saying that looks like my stream ended. That's weird. No, it should be good. Oh, there you are, Sam. Hi. Glad you were able to hop on. Yes, I am elated with the election results. I'm gonna get emotional for a minute. Oh, I don't like to go political on my YouTube channel because I want it to be a place to kind of escape from that. But I do want to take a minute to just say, man, this morning I woke up after sleeping for 3 hours and just tracking the election these past couple of nights and not being able to sleep. I just feel so relieved and emotional. I mean, there's so many reasons to be emotional for me. Not only are we as a nation rejecting the rhetoric and the racism and intolerance and the trajectory of our country, but it's also historic because we see Kamala Harris, the first woman VP to be, and first woman of color to hold such a high position of power in our country. It's a reckoning, and it's so amazing to see. And I can only imagine how it feels to be a Black woman or Southeastern uh, Asian person looking up to Kamala and saying, hey, that could be me someday. A little girl waking up to see representation where she's never seen it before. A little boy just being able to look up and say, okay, my skin color is not a qualification. That is just amazing to me. And I was just reflecting on this earlier today, where in our lifetime, we have seen a huge shift in our political system, where we've seen America elect its first Black president. We've seen Native Americans being elected to Congress for the first time in the last couple of years, and now there's even more. And I'm Native American. I grew up on a reservation. I'm white passing. I get that. I know my privilege there, but I also just feel the weight of that. And sorry, it's so emotional because I think of the experiences that my family has had being darker skinned than I, and just feeling vindicated and validated that our people still exist and that we actually matter and that our skin color is not that qualification to hold a position of power in this country. And it's amazing to see. And it's just amazing to see that there is still a democratic system that wasn't cheated. I don't believe that were any there was any cheating involved. I do think that there were some inconsistencies and things like that in the election itself and ballots and such because of the missing 300,000 ballots and things like that. That I'm not going to deny. However, I just loved seeing that our democracy has prevailed and that so many people have voted. You know, there's 74.3 million people voted for Biden, and just over 70 million people voted for Trump, and that doesn't even include the votes that voted independent or write-ins. It's just an amazing turnout this year, and it just makes me very proud to be American, and I don't say that lightly. I get so frustrated when rhetoric gets spewed out that I don't agree with, especially in our White House, intolerance and things like that. So it's just an amazing feeling. Oh, thank you, Sophie. And yes, Sam, yeah, I am totally with you. And I can only imagine how he feels right now, realizing that America rejected him. And how dare America reject him? Nobody would reject him, you know? I do think he's got narcissism as some sort of mental flaw, some emotional health flaw, and I don't want to be ableist in calling him crazy or anything, but I do think he suffers from some sort of narcissism, and he's going to have to come to terms with that in some way. I mean, he's, 76 years old? It's like he's had a whole lifetime to deal with that, and now he gets to deal with it in a very, very public arena, which is unfortunate for him. But anyway, I wanted to take a couple minutes to just kind of address that because I'm not wearing makeup because I just go through these fits. I won't say, well, maybe not fits, but I go through these phases where all of a sudden I just like realize, wow, things have shifted. Things are going to be different. And they're not always, you know, this negative thing like, oh man, these last 4 years, I feel like we've gone so backwards and it's so heartbreaking. And I just feel as though, you know, now we can move forward and we can mend that divide and hopefully repair the damages and become a better nation for it. So anyway, didn't want to wear makeup today because I'm sure it'd be like slathered down my face, melted down. Even if I wore waterproof isn't resistant to smudging and clumpy lashes, unfortunately. So anyway, yeah, oh, what a morning. What a week. But it's like that reprieve, and it's like when you're just going through a really rough time, and maybe you've been in a fight with someone, or you just have this really rough situation that you don't foresee yourself coming out of, and then something shifts, and it just starts getting better, and you feel this just huge relief. You feel this weight coming off your shoulders. That's how I feel, and I'm sure others feel the same way. There was this video that was being shared on Twitter and on Facebook where, I'm so bad at names, I forgot his name, but Anderson Cooper was interviewing him, or at least asked him for his thoughts and opinions on the election results, and he just broke down crying, and I just felt that to my core, like, yes. It's an amazing thing. I have hope in our nation again. So, oh, by the way, Butters decided to show her booty just to keep it lighthearted now. So booty Butters booty right there. Oh man. Okay. So I have my mac and cheese here because I'm hungry. I didn't eat much today. Sorry. I did buy some things from Sephora recently, and I thought I would do a little haul and kind of show you guys what I got, because I promised I would. I think in the last live video that I did that I would do that. I have everything in the original Sephora box, but it's like empty packaging, so I'm kind of digging through like, okay, do I have everything? I think I left my packing slip somewhere else. I think it's downstairs, so I can't confirm that I have everything. But anyway, I did want to show off what I got. Ooh, One Tree Hill. I have not seen that in years. My goodness. That brings me back. I've been watching Sister Sister with Tia and Tamara Mori, and I'm almost done. It's so sad. I'm like, no, I don't want this show to end because I'm on the last season, I believe, and it just goes by so fast. But I'm loving the throwbacks lately. It's like, yes, it's so fun to just kind of travel back to a different time period altogether, I think. Yeah, I'm with you with how close the race was. However, I don't foresee the results changing because Pennsylvania and even Nevada were pretty, and even, Arizona, that's a toss-up for me since there's so many uncounted votes. But Nevada and Pennsylvania, I think Biden was so far ahead in those two states that even if they recounted or they investigated for whatever reason, if the district courts, state and federal courts said that there was evidence or some particular reason to go back and do so, that the elections for one are run by the state, so the state court would have to approve a recount. States would have to approve a recount and go through that process depending on the state and their individual laws. But if their state Supreme Court upholds or reviews Trump's cases, then there's some other things that could happen depending on the state laws and the Supreme Court's upholding or tossing out any prior decisions by the state. So anyway, if the worst came to worst, I don't foresee them being able to recover that many votes to make a difference in at least those two states, because all he needed was Pennsylvania to win. And Pennsylvania, they're still counting votes, and I foresee him being up about 40 to 50,000 votes ahead of Trump when all is said and done. So anyway, I won't go into all that. It's just, I've spent too much time going through probabilities and statistics and trying to figure out what his odds were in Pennsylvania. I don't have my note. Actually, I do have my notepad. Just a second here. Maybe. I don't know if this is the right one. Yep. I'm a nerd. I went through every single county and I looked at all the statistics and I was calculating things out. So I actually sat there for like an hour. I'm like, I want to make sure I'm not celebrating or feeling too good about something too prematurely. So anyway, I'm a nerd. Ooh, yeah. Yay for Sister Sister on UK Netflix. I've heard that UK still has Friends on Netflix. So I've been thinking about signing up for like a VPN service so that I can go on the UK Netflix site and be able to binge that, because I didn't unfortunately get to watch all of Friends, but I really liked that show a lot. But yeah, how many seasons were there of One Tree Hill? I have no idea. I don't think I made it all the way through One Tree Hill. Yeah, I was what I was thinking too, Sam, the VPN. Oh, I actually have a ton of their films. I'm trying to remember which ones I have. I know I have My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Castle in the Sky. Oh, I have quite a few. They come every so often to Walmart or Target. So whenever I see them, I pick them up. I'm like, ooh, $25? Okay, I'll get it. And I haven't regretted it. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, great minds think alike, right? Oh, 9. Wow, I didn't realize it went on for that long. Okay, I know what show I need to binge next. Oh, Spirited Away. I want to say that's. Oh, it's so hard. I want to say that's my favorite, but then I'm like, but what about this one? But what about this one? But what about this one? It's so hard. It's like everyone's my favorite. I actually have a couple I haven't watched yet because I saw them and I thought, ooh, Another Studio Ghibli. I'm just gonna get it. So I actually should watch those eventually. I have a lot. I went through this phase where I'd buy so many movies and then I wouldn't actually watch them. Not because I didn't want to, it's just I never got around to doing so. It's the same with makeup, I feel. I buy all this stuff and I don't use it all because I'm a weirdo and hoarder. Oh, cool. That's not a bad deal. I love when you can get really good deals on stuff like that. I have the only TV series that I actually own the full set for is Charmed. I remember buying that, I want to say more than 10 years ago. It came in this limited edition Book of Shadows case. So it actually has pages in there that looked aged, and they have the special fonts, and they have pictures, and they talk about the different seasons and some of the themes and such. It's really cool. And that was $200. So that has been kind of a prohibitive reason for buying TV shows on DVD. And now streaming services make it so much easier to not have to buy them. I actually binged ER earlier this year since it was on Hulu, I believe. And I remember watching that show growing up with my mom. And after watching the whole thing, I was like, man, this was so good. They were so ahead of their times with diversity, inclusion, and just being a fully inclusive cast, and also addressing some things that, weren't really talked about at the time. So, like, if anyone has a chance to watch ER, I would recommend it. It's like you definitely get that vibe where it's like, oh, this is early 90s, like chunky phones with cords on them and things that just, are no longer part of our normal day to day. It's kind of like, oh man, that's like, oh, cringy. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we dealt with that. But it's just fun to go back. Yeah. Yeah, when you see something that kind of takes you back to childhood, it's hard to not feel those sentimental views on something like, oh, that will always be my favorite. It's like why I love Sailor Moon so much. Like watching as an adult, I still love it, but it's like that storyline was a little cheesy, but I still love it. Like I absolutely love Sailor Moon. Oh, Gilmore Girls. Oh, yes, his character was such a jerk in that show, so it's hard to like see him as a nice guy. I love Gilmore Girls. I binged that as well, and I might rewatch it. I heard that they're supposed to do another season or another like video thing of that. I don't know how true that is, but I'm hopeful because I would love to see Rory go through having her child and kind of seeing how that progresses because that would be really good. Sorry if I spilled too much info if you haven't gotten to watch it yet. Sorry for that. By the way, no, just kidding. I haven't watched, my roommate used to watch Supernatural. And I don't know, it looked interesting, but I don't think I kind of entered the room and was watching an episode that really was a good one to start with, I guess, to really get a good idea of what the plot is, what the whole idea is behind the show. So I might have to just go back and watch that one too. Well, you're not alone, Sophie. I haven't seen it. So, yeah, there's like so many shows that I have on my list to watch. However, Grey's Anatomy is coming back soon. I was watching this video here on YouTube a couple days ago where forget her name. I'm so bad with names. Anyway, she was interviewing Ellen Pompeo and Chandra and the lady who plays, shoot, I am like, so this week I tell you my brain is fried. Anyway, there were three cast members who were interviewed along with the executive writer. And they were talking about like highlights of the show and just the past 17 seasons and their favorite things that they've um, done, talking about DEI and inclusion and storylines and how they're going to move forward with the show given COVID if they wanted to address it. And Ellen was talking about, just a little bit, talking about the season premiere that will be coming up. And she said it was probably her favorite episode to film in all the 17 seasons or something like that. And I'm like, ooh, it must be good. Must be good. So I'm excited to see that. And also excited to see Handmaid's Tale once that comes back. I watched, probably not the best year to watch it, but I did watch this a few months back, and it's gut-wrenching. Like, I felt so gutted in so many episodes. Like, no, that's so unfair. And then you're like, I can't watch this. I'm so angry that they let this happen to so-and-so. But then you're like, but I need to watch to know if it gets better. Like, there was I won't go and, spill it too much and, reveal any information, but anyway, there was this part where I could not watch that show for like a week because I was so upset. I was so invested in the show and I was so upset with what happened. And I finally went back to watch it and I was just like so gutted. I was just like, no. But then I got the reprieve that I needed, the resolve that I needed with that next episode. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, thank goodness there's some sort of resolution, because if not, I was going to lose my crap. um, I've watched only a couple of episodes of Buffy. I know. And I never watched it. I don't know. That's another one I need to watch. As I said, I have a long list. Yes, Jensen Ackles. I remember him being on Days of Our Lives. I think it was Days of Our Lives. I'm going to not only age myself, but I'm also going to reveal some embarrassing information. But in second grade, in second grade we got our class picture, and then we got this little card or something that went along with it to say, how old we were and what our favorite things were. And under favorite TV show, I put Days of Our Lives. And it actually is because I was homesick a lot. And every time I was homesick, I would just sit out in the living room, and my mom used to watch Days of Our Lives, so I'd watch it with her. And that was back at the time where Marlena had turned into the devil or something like that. And it was creepy, but I loved the creepy stuff. It was so cheesy. Like, I went on YouTube a while back, and I was like, I was talking to someone about it. And I was like, okay, I gotta see if they have these clips on YouTube. And of course they do, and it's so bad. So bad. But in second grade, it was, it was awesome. But it's a little embarrassing now. But anyway, I think Jensen Ackles was on that show. I think it was as Marlena's son, believe it or not. So anyway, that was the whole point of that little spiel. Yes, I cried when Dr. Green died. Oh, that was so gutting. Yeah. I bawled. He was such a great doctor on that show. Like, if I could Grey's Anatomy is the same thing. Like, once you get invested in these characters and they die, you're like, how dare you kill him or her? Like, no, that's not allowed to happen. I can't take this kind of pain. Did you? I have not seen Days of Our Lives in years. I think I got out of it like early high school or something. I mean, there's just so many bizarre storylines. I can't keep up. Then another soap opera that I loved, and I remember watching it when it first started, was Passions. Does anyone remember that show? Oh, talk about like out there with storylines. Like, if you like magical occult stuff, Passions would have been for you, because there's witches and evil and good and angels and devil and all sorts of stuff in that show, and it is out there. Well, hello, Butters. I felt like someone was watching me. What you doing? I think she smells my food and wants my food. Um. Oh, okay. I'm not the only one. Yay, passions. Oh man, that show. Yeah, I think 10 or 11 when that show first came on. It was summer of 1999. Was it 10 or 11? Somewhere around there. I think it was summer of no, I'm sorry. Maybe it was summer of 2000. I forget. But it was way back when. And I loved that show. I remember watching the very first couple of episodes where Charity and Miguel had met at the fair and they were, so they were struck by each other and love at first sight. And then Teresa and Ethan and her I can't speak, high school crush on him. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I didn't know that there was that cross reference. Now I have to watch that episode because that's really funny. Yeah, Sophie, it's no longer on the air. I think it ended like in 2006 or something. So it was only on the air for a few years. It's an interesting show. It's not the best written soap opera. It's more like cheesy entertainment, but yeah. Oh, yes, Miguel and Luis. Girl, Luis. Oh, he's so pretty. I think he's in Days of Our Lives now. Uh, I don't remember the name of this character. And also the lady, I think her name was Lindsay Corman or something. Um, yeah, she's in Days now. Oh, and actually, I watched This Is Us, and Justin Hartley started in Passions as Teresa's love interest, and they actually got married in real life. So that's like some little fan trivia. There we go. I'm like, dude, I can't think. More coffee. Mmm. Sabrina. Yes. And Salem the cat. Best one-liners. That cat. I'm sure if any of my cats could speak, they would probably speak only in sarcasm like him, and that would be like, you're my favorite. You're my favorite. Okay, I just realized I have not been showing you what I got. Okay. Well, I have the first thing here, which I've been sitting here playing with, and I didn't tell you what it is. That's the Lancome Art Liner. This is actually one of my favorite liquid eyeliners because it has a really flexible tip. I'll show you if I can. My webcam is not the best, but it's got this really fine kind of foam tip, and it's very flexible. I'm not going to swatch it because I still have one that's open and it's on its last limb. So one of my favorites. I've been using these for years, so I just got another one. Oh, you know what? I didn't watch the Sabrina cartoon. I don't think I did. I don't think so. Yeah, it was just the regular show with Melissa Joan Hart that I watched. Because she was one of my favorites. Because I first watched her in Clarissa Explains It All. Because that was one of my favorite shows on Nickelodeon for the longest time. So I was already a fangirl of her. And then, of course, when she did Drive Me Crazy, I loved that movie. Like, every summer, I would binge a ton of, like, chick flicks. And that was one of the ones that I would start with and just kind of go through different chick flicks at the time. But yeah, that show, I think I found that on YouTube as well. And I was just like, oh, it's so cheesy, but it's so good. I think we are. Somewhere, like, I'm 31. I'll be 30. Well, that's right. Well, you're a couple days younger than me, I think. That's right. 89, 2007 graduation. Yeah, mine's February 10th. Yours was the 11th, right? I have not seen the Netflix Sabrina. And same with Charmed, the reboot. I'm kind of weird when it comes to reboots. I'm like, don't mess with the classics, y'all. Don't mess with the classics. So, I just kind of get cringy when they do that. Oh, oh, if you don't mind my asking, how old are you, Sophie? Well, goodbye to you too. Yeah, I feel like today is like reminiscent. Let's just reminisce on the 90s. Yeah, it hasn't really interested me. There's a lot of shows that I just haven't really been interested in. Like, was it Tiger King, whatever that was? Didn't seem interesting to me. I know everyone's like, oh, it's so good. I haven't seen Schitt's Creek yet because I watched the promo preview thing and it looked all right, but it just seemed like meh. I mean, I've heard it's gotten way better, but I just haven't really gotten into that or just wasn't really interested. Um, I'm not sure. Was it? I don't know how they pronounce it on Hulu, but it's like Pen 15, or it's supposed to look like the word penis. I watched an episode, but it was so cringy because it's like adults playing adolescent teen girls, and it's so awkward. Okay, well you're not too far behind. You're not too far behind, Sophie. So, not too much of a baby. We'll just say it that way. Yeah, marry him from One Tree Hill. Yeah. Yeah, man, going back to the early 2000s and thinking about how guys looked back then, it was like the bleached hair, like the wavy hair and or the goth kind of punky look. It was like one or the other, like very preppy, blonde hair, whatever, and then the gothy, not gothy, sorry, punky, rocky kind of dudes, emo. That was what it was. And back then, I was shifting. I went through this period from like 10 to maybe 13, 14 years old where I was like, ooh, I like that preppy look. And then after I got a little bit older, I was like, yeah, those preppy guys are jerks, and I'm not attracted to jerks, so they're not attractive to me. And then I was like, ooh, but that emo guy is kind of cute. Yeah, I don't remember character names from that show. Oh, I'm so bad. I told you I'm bad with names. Like faces. Okay, now I'm gonna look it up because I'm like, oh, I can't remember who that is. Yeah, Johnny Depp. I liked him. I wasn't like, I'm kind of weird too, where I don't get crushes on celebrities very easily. Um, I have to, and let me just rephrase this. The only celebrities I've ever had a crush on were musicians who wrote their own music because they put some emotional depth into that, and it's reflective of who they are. So that's that connection that I had to them. So that's where that crush developed. For me, I did like Nick Carter back in the early 2000s before I found out he beat up Paris Hilton or some weird stuff happened there. But then it just shifted. I'm like, ooh, that guy from, I don't know, I can't, like Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco. Of course, this was a bit later. It was after high school, but yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny Depp. He's, in his 50s, but he's still handsome. He's got this kind of hard look to him now. I mean, where it's like, okay, you're getting a little bit older. Not to say I'm not attracted to older guys, but I'm like, it's kind of at that point where his face has changed a lot, where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, and Infant. Leo is the same way, where he was like super adorable. I mean, he's an excellent actor and he's very talented. He has a lot of good things going for him, but I don't find myself attracted to him. I don't know. He was definitely really cute. Oh, do you remember him in Romeo and Juliet? Yeah. Crybaby. Oh my gosh. Oh, I've not seen that one in years. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I like Tom DeLonge too. Let's see. I went through this phase where I was obsessed with Green Day. And I had a crush on Billy Joe Armstrong. And when I found out he was married, I was crushed. Not that that would ever have happened, but. Who else did I like? I mean, as I got older, okay, so Muse is a band that I've been listening to since they first came out. I didn't know who so there was a song that hit it, because they're a UK based band. There was this song that crossed over to the American charts, and Unintended is the name of that song. I remember seeing that video and hearing that on like MTV or something or other, and I really liked the song. Well, fast forward several years, didn't hear much from them, didn't, whatever. And then they crossed over again, and Starlight was the first big hit that they had here in the US as far as I remember. And then all of a sudden they blew up. But yeah, I love their old stuff, and I remember thinking back then, oh, he's kind of cute, like the lead singer, what's his name? Oh, names are escaping me. I tell you, my brain is just fried. Yeah, Elvis before the 70s. Before all those peanut butter, banana, whatevers that you used to eat. Decemberist. That sounds familiar. I don't know that I've heard of them, but it sounds familiar. I don't know. Okay. I've been sitting here like flipping this open. I'm going to show it to you. I finally splurged and I finally got this palette. I've been eyeing it for a couple of years now, and it's the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Oh, I'm so happy to have this. I wish I brought out the Metropolis palette so I could compare them, but I am so thrilled to finally have this palette, and of course I've played with it already, and like I'm so in love with this palette. The colors, like honestly, a lot of these colors look so similar to each other, but there's just something about this palette that just makes me super happy. The color schemes. Yeah, and getting 20% off on it too, because I'm not a Rouge member, but I did find a code online for the friends and family sale, so I was able to take advantage of that 20% off. Trust me, I had to hunt, and I was playing around with so many links because the link expires and or hits a capacity. So Sephora employees were just on different forums sharing it, and I finally got one that worked. And you had to click on the link, and then the code was automatically applied to your accounts, and then you had so much time to use that code. So I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to get 20% off of any Sephora stuff unless I hit Rouge, which will probably never ever happen because I maybe buy from Sephora maybe 2-3 times a year. And the VIB, I hardly ever shop during the VIB because, I mean, 15% is nice, but it's not substantial enough because the taxes here in Seattle, the sales tax is 10.1%. So it's essentially only taking 5% off my purchase at the end of the day. So it's really not that much to entice me to buy anything. However, 20% off, that's a different story. So yeah, I'm so thrilled that I got this palette because it's $129 original price. So I got it for, I want to say like $101, something like that. And I can just say that I love this teal shade. This kind of bronzy gold shade is really pretty. And then there's this really cool little duochrome shade here, which is like a greenish gold. And then it kind of reflects another, or it has a base of like this kind of brownish, like a reddish brown sort of color. So it's really cool. And then, yeah, like all the golds. So I'm excited that I got that. And it was not the only Natasha Denona I got. I also got the Tropic palette. This was actually already discounted. I think they're discontinuing it. So it was already 50% off. So it was like $65. And then I got 25% off of that too. And I was going back and forth on this palette because I wasn't sure I wanted it, because they sell the 5-pan Tropic palette, and pretty much the colors in this palette, I was like, okay, I could just get the 5 pans and have all the special fun shades that I like. But then I was looking at it a little bit more, and I did a little research, and I was looking at swatches, and there are these 2 shades here that I was like, ooh, I kind of like those. Because this one, it looks like a pale yellow, but it has some shimmer to it. And then this orangey shade called Goosty has a little bit of a blue and purpley tone. Like, it's almost like a duochrome. So I was like, okay, those are special. I should get that palette too. I've already worn it a couple of times because I hadn't really played with it. I have to say, you definitely want a primer with some of these shimmery shades, because I ended up glitter all over my face just after swiping a little of the color on. Like with glitter, well, this one, it doesn't look like it has glitter in it, but it definitely has small glitter particles, so it gets everywhere. But I really like the color story, like the pinks and kind of these subdued pastel, like pinks and oranges here. So I'm excited to play with this a bit more. And you know me and greens, if you've been around, I'm obsessed with this green color. And then I really like this minty shade too. And then of course pastel purple. So yeah, I'm so excited to get another Natasha Denona. So I think that's 3 palettes that three Natasha Denona palettes that I have. I was thinking about getting another Pat McGrath palette. However, I did purchase that Celestial Divinity, and you know, I'm loving that. And then I have a smaller, the Bronze Seductress Mothership Divine palette, I think is what it's called. And I love them, but I didn't really want to spend another $100 on a palette when there are other things that I wanted instead. So I was like, okay, I can get a bunch of little things, or I could get like 3 palettes. And I was like, okay, I'm already buying 2 Natasha Denonas. I don't need to spend another $100 on a large palette. You should get it if you want it. I really like it. I really like it. I know that there's been mixed reviews on it compared to the, I guess, original formula, because it was created or manufactured in China or something. But honestly, I don't see a huge difference between that and the Mothership Divine palette that I have. I don't have one of the larger palettes to be able to compare and contrast, but honestly, they're not, I mean, they're eyeshadows, you know. Yeah. Oh, buying a house, that's so exciting. Yeah. I remember, because I bought 2 years ago, I bought a condo, and I remember that 2-year period where I was saving to do it. It's like, that's why I didn't buy that gold palette. That's why I waited so long to buy it, because I wanted to be good. And I was paying down like my student loans and trying to pay down my car and all these things where I'm like, okay, I could spend $130 plus tax on a palette that I will use maybe a couple times a month, maybe less, if depending, because I have so much makeup. Or I could use that $100 some odd and put that into savings, which will be used for down payment. It's like, well, all these pros on the house outweigh this palette. So yeah, I get it. I get it. It's tough though, especially when you see people like me where you're like, where I'm doing hauls and, showing you all these new things, and it's like, you should buy this. But I would never tell you to go out and buy something unless it's something that you already like and want. But at this point with that palette, it's beautiful, but I won't say that it's so unique that you can't find it already, like those shades in different palettes or whatever. Being a nanny, that's yeah, that would be a good option, especially in Florida. Florida being warm, of course, it depends on storms and such, but it wouldn't be a bad place to be. Oh, so I also picked up the Rare Beauty Magnetic Spirit palette. I was not in. Oops, sorry, my phone's going off. I wasn't really interested in in her palettes at first because they're all metallic shimmering shades. But then on Sephora, they have these videos where they show you a tutorial of someone doing their makeup. And I saw this one and I looked and of course, you know, swatched it a little bit and I thought, ooh, I really like those colors. And this color story is, I mean, purples. I'm all about purples and greens. And this one has this kind of smoky olive shade, an orange, and then these three purple tones, and you know there's a plum, and then there's this fun duochrome that has this blue violet shift with kind of a red plummy base, which I like. I've only worn this once, so I can't give you my full opinion on it. I've heard mixed reviews on this as well, but I did like it. I definitely recommend using like a strong primer with it so nothing, you know, falls to the cheekbones. But I used, what colors did I use? I used this plum one with a little bit of this deep purple. I pop this as in the inner tear duct, and then I used this light purple as a topper. So these 4 shades, and it looked really pretty. I liked it. It didn't like fall like all over my face. But yeah, I like it. I think for $25 and 6 eyeshadows is a pretty good deal. I mean, here, I'll swatch this one. It doesn't swatch the best. I'll note that for like a metallic kind of formula, but I mean, it does. It's like this one is meant to be a topper, so it's not going to show up pretty heavily. It's got like the base barely shows up. Ooh, craft goodies. Oh, so I don't know if you saw my description, or like I do those secret questions in my videos, and then the last one I was talking about doing Vlogmas, and since I have 3 YouTube channels because I'm a weirdo, my craft and kind of lifestyle channel, I was thinking about doing Vlogmas on that channel as well and doing some craft projects and cooking because I promised I would do some cooking videos for my niece. So anyway, I bought some things the other day to do some crafty things, so I might have those coming up pretty soon. Anyway, that was where I thought with that, what I thought of it with that. Yeah, I watched Jen Love's, and then I didn't see the one from Smoky Glow. Yeah, I don't think I saw hers. I'm trying to remember who else did I see do this. I'm subscribed to so many people and there's so many of them that have similar content, like very similar content where I'm like, wait, was it so-and-so or was it so-and-so? Or maybe it could have been so-and-so. But anyway, yeah, this palette, I love the packaging. The packaging is really pretty. I kind of wish I'd gotten the other one now, but looking at the color story, I was more intrigued with this purple one. And then, of course, getting $5 off was nice. So it was only $20 net. Cool. Yeah, you should check out, I don't know if you've already subscribed to it. It's called Reeses Pieces. Let's see. Yeah, I'm so bad at uploading on that channel. I have like so many videos that I need to edit. They're sitting in my queue. I actually have maybe 1 or 2 Christmas videos that I already have filmed from like a couple of years ago that I need to edit. So I might get those up this year. I had a Halloween video I was going to do on that channel, but this last October went by so fast. And then of course, I didn't mention this earlier. I had to take a break from filming YouTube videos because I had some stuff going on with school. And then I had an accident and I hurt my back. So was it last week? I've been working with this charity group that focuses on rehousing people and helping homeless. And there was somebody who posted in that group saying they knew someone who needed help. She was pregnant and living in her car. She ran out of food stamps, so she didn't have food. She was waiting in line at the food bank for a couple of hours and was having a hard time with that because she's pregnant and of course COVID. So anyway, they were saying that she was just having a hard time, and I thought it's something about that post. I was like, I need to help her. So I posted on my personal Facebook and was trying to get some donations together. Anyway, I got some cash donations from folks. So I went to Costco and I picked up a bunch of stuff, and I was lifting this case of water and putting it into my cart, and I just turned the wrong way, and all of a sudden I felt this snap in my back, this really large popping, and I felt something move. And immediately I had this jolt of pain go through my back. It was terrible. And I couldn't really move. I can tolerate pain pretty well. Like I fractured my back when I was 11 years old, and that's not even a 10 to me compared to some of the other things I've experienced. So for me, like I can handle pain, and I mean I might cry or whatever, but this was up there. This was like an 8 or 9. And I still had groceries in the cart, and it was time to lift them. And every time I lifted something, I just felt this really horrible pain. And it was like a sharp, burning, stabbing pain in this one spot in my back. And I got home, and I decided to go to the ER. So I drove myself to the ER, go in, and the doctor was pretty condescending to me, like, oh, you just have a muscle strain, and I see this all the time. I'm sure you're in a lot of pain, but don't worry, it's just a strain. Just take some ibuprofen, put a heating pad on it, and it'll be fine. And I'm like, listen, I know it's not just a strain, because it hurts more than a strain. I just got over having a strained muscle in my back. This is not a strain. The strain would have been radiating through this area because all these muscles would have been affected. This pain is localized, and it's a burning pain, and it does not feel normal. This does not feel like a strain to me. This is not arthritic because I have arthritis. Like, I'm worried because I have osteoporosis that has been diagnosed, and I've already had fractures in my back. I want to make sure that's not what it is. So the guy goes, okay, well, I guess we could do some imaging, but just know that your insurance might bill you for it. I'm like, yes, I get it. It's fine. I don't care. Like, I've already hit my maximum, so it's not like they're going to bill me much for the x-rays. Woohoo. So the x-rays results came back, and it turns out I had month-old fractures in my back. I have 2 compressed fractures in new places, and he had to kind of swallow his pride there, because he goes, oh, so the radiologist said that there were some fractures there. They're not new, but you do have some fractures in your back. And they ended up having to do an MRI just to make sure that those fractures were stable and that my spine wasn't going to be impacted. Good thing is that I didn't have to have emergency surgery to repair anything because my spine was stable. So yeah, I already had those fractures, had no idea I had fractures in my back, and then had this accident where I pulled those muscles and maybe even tore a muscle. I don't know. It still hurts a lot. I'm on muscle relaxers and pain medications and anti-inflammatories. I'm also on a nasal spray called calcitonin something or other, and it's supposed to help with bone density and helping to like reduce inflammation in the bones themselves or something like that. So I'm like on all these meds, and it's like it's a lot. And I haven't been able to sleep in my bed for over a week, so I'm sleeping on my couch, which is not fun because I have a cat wheel. I know this sounds weird. I have like a large cat wheel for my cats, and there's my 2 youngest ones like to run on this wheel. It's so funny. It's like a hamster wheel, but for cats. And anyway, they like to do that at night, and it's in the living room. So I hear this crunk, 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 crunk at night now, and it stinks. It's not fun. Ooh, that does not sound fun. I have never had an epidural. I've had surgeries where, they knock you out. And some surgeries they'll do an epidural for, but I thankfully haven't had one. But yeah, like I've seen an epidural being done before, and that's ugh, ugh. When my sister-in-law was in labor, I was in the room with her, and yeah, like just watching that being done, it's like, oh man, I could only imagine how careful they have to be. And she's started having a contraction as the anesthesiologist was, inserting the needle, and he missed it, and he had to pull it out, and then she's, contracting at that point where she was like hunched over, and then had to move back to like reduce some of that pressure. And like he had to go back into that same exact spot, like the precision had to be exact, and it's like, oh man, if you miss, then you're screwed. So that's like, ugh, that's awful. Anything to do with the back is never fun. Yeah, but I'll be okay. Like my fractures are healing, and it's just gonna take time. I'll probably recover in the next couple of months, but I can't lift anything beyond like my cats are the limit. I can't, like, the more like what I learned, because I went to another specialist the other day, is let's pretend this is like 5 pounds. It's not, but let's just pretend. The closer it is to your body, the more that weight is distributed across your body. Your body can hold that weight. It feels more like 5 pounds. But the longer it, oh, I can't even do that. That hurts. But the more you bring it out away from your body, it actually puts more weight on your spine. So then for me, because I was lifting that case of water and it wasn't, tucked into my gut, it was like 30 pounds. So it was really like I put 70 pounds of pressure on my back because of how far out it was. So, yeah, I'm not supposed to lift anymore. I'm not, like, there's a lot of physical activities I can't do anyway because of my osteoporosis. Like, I used to run all the time. I used to love jogging, and I can't anymore because the impact is just too much on my spine. I used to play tennis. I used to love playing field hockey. I won't say I was like I used to go to the gym. I used to bench press 150 plus pounds. I was a bodybuilder. I can't do any of that stuff anymore because it's just too much on my poor back. No. Hope your niece, I'm assuming she's okay now, but it's always, when people hurt themselves, especially little ones, you're just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish I could take that pain away. Oh, and that's sweet that she wanted to cuddle with you. I wish my nieces were little enough for that now. My youngest niece is 16 years old. She's the one I talked about in a live stream a couple streams ago, where she's autistic and she's special needs, but she's my girl, And anytime I go visit her, she's always like by my side. She's my buddy, my companion. So, and she goes, like, whenever it's her time of month, she gets really emotional and she'll just start crying. And then I'm like, do you need a hug? And she's like, mm-hmm. So I'll give her a hug. So I love that. I love being comforting. But it's always such a bummer when you're like, oh, please don't cry. So sad. Aw, 6 years old. That's one of my favorite ages, like 4, 5, and 6, because they're still young enough that they're still like little sponges, and they're willing to please and not, argue too much. The older they get, they start questioning and they start getting a little bit bossier, right? At least that's my experience. But I love that age. It's such a fun age. Oh, threatening you with scissors. Now that sounds a little scary. Are they the little, do you remember those plastic scissors they always have in school? I don't know if you had them in the UK, but like I remember being 5 years old and we had to cut paper, and it was with these stupid plastic scissors that didn't do jack. They were so bad. Maybe that's what you'll need to get her. These little plastic scissors that don't do anything. I'm going to adjust in my seat. Ouch. Oof, okay. Another palette, because we talk about makeup again, is the Naked Honey palette. It's like the only Urban Decay palette in the past couple of years that has in any way intrigued me enough to actually want it. It's kind of similar to the gold palette, but obviously it doesn't have those green shades and there's no duochromes in here, although it is just a warmer palette. So I'm going to show you them side by side here. Oops, as I dip my finger into a shade. Come on. There we go. They're very similar, definitely warmer tones, and there might be some tones that kind of, you know, geez, this is not easy because this top part wants to bend backwards. There we go. I'll just, so there's a couple of shades like over here that are similar to the ones here, like this one and this one could be dupes for each other. Actually, there's, you know, looking at it, there's actually not a lot of crossover, so I'm kind of glad I got both now looking at it, because I was worried about that when I got both of them, because it'd been so long since I swatched them, because hello, no one's swatching anything right now, at least here in the States. So looking at them, there's not a huge similarity between them. There's similarities enough in the color tones and the warmth, but the colors themselves, not a lot. So, okay, I feel better about that now. Ooh. Yeah, she sounds a little sadistic. That sounds terrible. Thankfully, I've never been stabbed with a fork or scissors. I have been with a knife, but not like, you know, crazy psycho killer wanting to kill me kind of stabbing, but more like, oops, I got jabbed with a fork. And I got jabbed by, I got pulled into a current while I was doing a river float with my sister a couple years back, and we got caught in this current, and the current was pulling me into a log boom, and I kind of went flying into the logs, and there were little branches. I got stabbed with those. So that's not fun. I have not seen the promos. I didn't even know he was coming out with a new palette. Ooh, I already know I'm not going to buy it, but I'm intrigued now. I'm going to look it up on his website. Is it on the website, or is it like on Trendmood or something? Let's see. Is it the pink? Is it like a pink thing? That's not what it is. Instagram.com trend. Is it possibly on Trendmood? Chucky. That's so funny. Ooh, blood money. Oh no, if it's a green palette, I'm like, ugh. But I already know I won't buy it because I just don't support his brand. Ooh, I am looking at this Suva. I love Suva. They have this palette. Ooh. Okay, I'll show you in a second. I'm looking to see if they have it on here on Trendmood. I'm not seeing his palette. I didn't really see it on his website, to be honest. Let's see. Jeffree Star Blood Money. Images. Okay, now I'm seeing it here. It looks interesting. It looks, oops, I don't want to see a video. I don't want to watch the video. I just want to see a picture. That's all I want. Oh, interesting. So one thing that bothers me is when you look at like a video versus like an Instagram versus another promo picture, and all the colors look so different from each other. I hate that. That drives me bonkers. Okay, so it looks pretty. I'll give it that. I like that it has olive tones and kind of those lime greens, and it has some pastels in those deeper shades. It looks pretty. I'm gonna pass. However, I'm gonna go to Sydney Grace's website really quickly because they have a green palette, and I'll show you. I think they still have it, hopefully. Eyeshadow palettes? No. Maybe they sold out of it. Maybe. Miscellaneous, maybe. They sell them in bundles. Oh, here they are. I'm just blind. It's right there. Okay. I'm going to show this to you really quickly if I can figure this out on my program, whoops, program here. Second here, I'm trying to figure out how to do this on my Mac. Desktop, or no, actually it'd be under applications. Sorry, hold please. And I'm using Firefox. Oops, no, it's not right. Sorry. I should practice this because I'm not sure. Display capture. Let's see if this will do it. Okay, well, now you're seeing my entire screen, so. Wait, hold on. That's not right. You're seeing my. Why is this not wanting to work the way I want it to? Ay, ay, ay. Display capture. This is strange. I'm not gonna mess with this too much more. Stop. I don't know. Sorry, guys. But what I can do is pop in a picture. That will work. So Control Shift 4 or Command Shift 4. Okay. And add an image. And go browse. Oops, not OneDrive. Desktop. There we go. So this palette, oh, I like that I can actually drag this and make it smaller or bigger. So this is a Sydney Grace. There's 2 bundles that are green. I'm more willing to support Sydney Grace or some sort of indie brand over Jeffree Star. Yeah, Blood Money just sounds like a drug lord or something like that, which does not sound really nice. Especially given everything of this year, like Blood Money. I think anything having to do with like blood or money where people are struggling with money, it sounds tone deaf to me. It is pretty. I'll give it that. But, you know, I'll just get these instead. The Danny's Dream Bundle, like it has the same kind of tones. It's got olives, it's got those brighter greens and some more of those pastels. And then the Mountain Trail has more of those brown and green tones with more olive based. So anyway, those are probably what I'd buy instead. Oh, I'm happy you were able to come and hang out, Sophie. It's good to see you. I'll have to do another chat soon, and hopefully you'll be able to make it. Yeah, I'm gonna close that out. Okay, there we go. I think that's working. Yes. All right. I'm a little tech challenged today. So let's go through some of the rest of the stuff that I got. Since, you know, I sell quite a few things. Another window. Like all these empty boxes. Oh, a little thing that I got that I was like, oh, this is really cute. It was only like $9.50. Is this Clinique Honey Take Two. There are the lip colors. There's the black honey, and then they have the, what is this called? Pink honey. I love the black honey. I think my other one, it was already all used up, so I decided to get another set. I mean, for $9.50, you get the two, and I was intrigued by the pink honey shade, so I thought, I'll get that too. Why not? And I like this little case. I like that it feels just a little fancy, not like a typical case that you can just easily tear apart, you know? Okay, I'm missing a palette. Or no, I'm not. Here it is. And another palette I got is Makeup by Mario Metallic Master of Metals palette. I like this color story. I like that they're metallics. I wasn't really intrigued enough to buy the mattes palette after seeing it swatched and played with. Mel Thompson did a really good review on it, so that kind of deterred me from buying it since I already own, which is actually in here, so it's playing. I already have this one, which is the Viseart Pro Matte. Yeah, the Pro Neutral Matte palette. This is not new. I've had this for a while, but it was in this box because I was doing some other stuff with makeup the other day. Anyway, and I just stuck it back in there. But this, I thought, it's unique enough, and I don't quite have anything with this kind of orangey bronze shade. I have coppers and such, but like this is the rose gold here. So I'll swatch. These actually have a really nice texture to them. They're like, you can use them with mixing medium to make them really bold, but I like that you don't have to do that. There we go. They're really shimmering and, you know, bright and bold on their own. But they have enough grip to them that I don't feel like you need the mixing medium. I do want to compare it to the Illamasqua Liquid Metals palette. I'll show you that really quickly. I have that one already. I don't have it here with me, but it's a cream formula instead, which I think would be an interesting contrast between the two to see which one I like better, because the Illamasqua one's very, very pigmented. Let's go. Oh, looks like it remembered my selection quite quickly. Images. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm just taking a little snippet from some random picture I'm finding on Google. So, disclaimer, I don't own this image. Whoops, wrong thing. Add image. Okay, I think I have a good flow for this program now, mostly. There it is. So I have this one. It's got more of an antique kind of gold shade, copper, silver, and a kind of this neutral gold color compared to the Mario one, whoops, which is way brighter and different color tones. So the gold, this gold is more of like a copper tone. This is obviously a very orangey shade. This one's a bright gold, yellow gold. And then this one is kind of, I don't know, it kind of has like this blue tone to the silver. Definitely not the same colors as the Liquid Metals palette, but I thought I would do a little comparison between the two. You know, I actually really like Illamasqua. I don't have too many products from them myself because, you know, they're not available at Sephora anymore, sadly. I have the Hydra Veil. I'm not sure if I like it yet because I got it in an Ipsy bag a while, like my Ipsy box rather, a while back, and I finally tried it, but when I used it with that CoverGirl foundation, I noticed I was pretty ashy. I wasn't as ashy the second day I put on the foundation without Hydra Veil, so I'm kind of curious to see if the Hydra Veil is what caused the ashiness, but I'm wanting to try it with one of the foundations I actually really like to be able to formulate an opinion. But yeah, I have a couple of eyeshadows from them, and I really like them. They blend out nicely. They are a little big, so it's kind of like Sugar Pill where you got these giant pans and you probably would never use all that product. I would say maybe they're not as big as Sugar Pill, but they're probably as large as the Makeup Forever eyeshadows that you see at Sephora. They're pretty large. They're not your typical small pan size, but I like them. I haven't really heard much from them, to be honest, to, you know, just to be on top of what new things they're coming out with. But I'm going to go to their website really quick. Lamasca.com. They do have a couple of things. Ooh, they actually have a palette that they've come out with. I don't know how old or new this is. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay. It kind of reminds me of the Sydney Grace, what do you call it? The collab with Mel Thompson, the man, I am spacey. Goodness gracious. It's one of those days, I tell you. I'm just gonna show it to you. Image. There it is. So this looks pretty. It does remind me of that Small Marvels or Little Marvels palette from Sydney Grace. Although this one has different shades, like that green in the bottom, that looks really pretty. I don't think I've ever really seen a green that looks like that before. And that minty teal shade on the bottom left, that looks really pretty. And it also looks like that pink in the top left of the palette. It looks like that might also be like a duochrome shimmering shade with like a light pink base, and it looks like it might have like a blue shimmer or shift to it. So I think, well, I probably won't be buying any more makeup for a little while just because the Sephora order was quite a bit, and I still have my Shroud Cosmetics order to come, and that has my Creepy Cute collection along with the Divinity palette. I think Divinity palette, I think, is what it's called, like the goddesses theme, plus the new It's Freaking Bats palette. So I have like 3 more things coming at some point in the near future. So I really don't need a lot more. I mean, let's face it, we don't really need makeup at all anyway, but you know, it's party full. Yeah, tiny marvels. Thank you. I was like, small marvels, little marvels, something, another synonym, tiny marvels. Yeah, this kind of gives me that vibe. It's slightly different color story, but it's intriguing enough. I don't have the Tiny Marvels palette. I am hoping to do another Sydney Grace order in the future, and then I'll get it at that time. But for now, I'm just kind of curbing my costs in makeup. Sorry, I'm going to eat really quick. I'm trying to think, did I get anything else? I thought I did. Oh yeah, I did. Here it is. All right. I also got this Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. Here, I'm going to close this image out. We don't need to see that anymore. Okay, closing that out. So I went off of Sephora's shade match thing where they ask you if you to compare it, a shade range to a foundation that you already have. My shade match in MAC Studio Fix is NC15. So I thought, okay, I can put that in and we'll get the right shade. However, I remember being in Ulta, I think it was Ulta, where I'd already swatched it, and I can't remember the shade name off the top of my head. I think it might be Porcelain, but it was like a really good shade match. And this one is called Linen, so it's a little bit of a different color. However, I was expecting that shade match to be a good match. Do you see an issue here? Maybe? I'll swatch it a little bit because, hello. I don't know how this looks. This looks like NC, or no, it's not even NC. It looks like NW20 or NW25 for MAC. This is way too dark for my skin tone. It's a bit too orangey, and it's just not a good shade match for me. So that's a big bummer. Let me take that off. I'm gonna swap that out for the Porcelain one. I should have just gone in with my gut reaction and gone lighter. Really a bummer because I was excited to get this, and I know that they're gonna have to destroy this because, you know, they can't resell that, especially with COVID, but they should update their skin matching because that's not very good. Yeah, it's not even yellow. I would say it's more of an orange. It's just not that flattering. And the final thing I have here is the Tower 28. I decided to get the deluxe sample of the Save Our Skin SOS Daily Rescue Facial Spray because of wearing masks. I have some blemishes where the mask kind of meets the edge of my cheekbone. So I thought if I could do something to save my skin from, you know, possible acne or issues. I've heard a lot of good things about angry skin being soothed by this stuff. That's actually what it says on here. The happy solution for angry skin helps soothe irritation and defend against daily damage from skin's everyday stressors, including makeup, sweat, grime, and pollution. While masks hold oils and grime, and I'm all for it. So I haven't tried it yet. I keep forgetting it's in here. I need to go through and recycle all this packaging because that's mostly what's left in this box here. And then for the deluxe samples, I don't know if you're interested in that, I got the Aran Mediterranean Honeysuckle perfume. I like perfume samples. I find that those are the best kind of samples to get. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I just realized that I've been on for almost an hour and a half and I have some stuff I need to get to. So anyway, yeah, I'll let you know when I get a new one, and I'll probably do a video with it just to kind of show it off because stick foundations are something that I've had a lot of misses with. So I'm kind of, you know, intrigued to see if that one will work for me. Ooh, honeysuckle. Oh, I'm excited to try that now. All right. Anyway, thanks for hanging